The Patriots have already fallen off the cliff. It doesn't matter. The only question at this point continues to be how they're going to clean up the mess. How will the divorce happen? Resignation, retirement, firing, mutual parting, or he gets traded.
I'd like to preface this video by giving you guys a heads up. This is a highly speculative video. There's a lot of sources here that I'm hearing about from the first time. Then there's, of course, Dan Orlovsky, which I think is entertaining, and sometimes he hits the nail on the head, and sometimes he doesn't. But I will say that a lot of this seems very reasonable and very logical, and it ties into what we were talking about in the past, at least in regards to Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we get all of that out of the way, leading up to the season, I spammed predictions at you guys consistently. Michael Porter Jr. needed over 5.5 rebounds in his season debut. Tyreek Hill just needed a touchdown, and Steph Curry just needed 1 point. Shout out to those that tailed. For those of you guys that were able to make money, we're giving away our picks for free all season long for the NBA and NFL on my Instagram at @TheFlightMike. And right now, when you use promo code microphone on PrizePicks, they'll match your deposit up until $100. Thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? The New England Patriots are having their worst season in over 2 decades. It's honestly really shocking. And a lot of people are saying it's because Bill Belichick is nobody without Tom Brady. Personally, as a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan that has no horse in this race, I really don't like when people say that, because the reason why Tom Brady got an opportunity to begin with was because Bill Belichick decided to go with Tom Brady over the former #1 overall pick, Drew Bledsoe, when Drew Bledsoe returned from injury as well. And of course, Tom Brady was incredible, the greatest of all time throughout his tenure with the New England Patriots, but you can make a very legitimate argument that there is no Tom Brady without Bill Belichick. But of course, the NFL is a what have you done for me lately league, and so far the post-Tom Brady era for Bill Belichick has been an unmitigated disaster. In 2020, he tried to fill the void that Tom Brady left behind by bringing in a extremely past his prime Cam Newton, which, by the way, I'm thinking of making a video on Cam Newton's career. If you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments section down below. But following the 2020 season, when Bill Belichick went 7-9, New England Patriots finally got their quarterback of the future in the 2021 NFL draft, selecting Mac Jones out of Alabama. It works perfectly. Nick Saban is a good friend of Bill Belichick. They used to coach together, and Mac Jones even got compared to Tom Brady coming out of Alabama, and it made a lot of sense. The comparison was primarily because Mac Jones was known for going through his progressions really quick and his processing speed, and not necessarily having the biggest arm in the class, but being the most NFL ready. And to this day, I believe that Mac Jones holds up to that billing. As a matter of fact, if you watch tape on Mac Jones and you see him going through his progressions, he kind of goes through them way too quickly because the New England Patriots offensive line is terrible and the New England Patriots wide receivers can't separate. And in 2022, the Patriots went 8-9, and now they're currently 2-8, at least at the time that we're making this video. And a lot of Patriots fans have varying opinions on what they need to do in order to get back to where they once were. Some people are saying, we gotta get rid of Mac Jones. Some other people are saying, we gotta get rid of Bill Belichick. And some people are saying, we need to get rid of both of them. And as time goes on, there's one scenario that seems more and more likely, and that's the fact that the New England Patriots are very likely to move on from Bill Belichick. Now, my personal assessment on this situation is Bill Belichick has had a tough time juggling being a head coach and a general manager of a rebuilding team. You might be able to do both when you have Tom Brady under center taking below market contracts, but it's a little different when you have to start over from scratch and your quarterback is a question mark. And don't get me wrong, Bill Belichick has had some remarkable NFL drafts, particularly this past NFL draft where he screwed over the New York Jets by allowing the Pittsburgh Steelers to trade up with the Patriots to select the offensive lineman that the Jets really wanted, which they desperately need because they have the worst offensive line in the NFL. Then moved back, selected Christian Gonzalez, later on selected Demario Douglas, and even found a gem in the 4th round in offensive lineman Sidy Sow, who has yet to allow a sack so far in 203 snaps played. But while he has moments of genius like the 2023 NFL draft, he has moments like the 2019 NFL draft, which is probably best explained by this meme.
Every now and then I get a little bit terrified, and then I see the look in your eyes.
Turn around, fight, dies. Every now and then I fall apart.
And I need you now tonight, and I need you more than ever.
And I guess it's easy to play captain hindsight whenever it comes to the NFL draft. N'Keal Harry was a better prospect and a higher projected pick than A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel and DK Metcalf. It's also funny because A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel begged the Patriots to draft him, and Bill Belichick went with N'Keal Harry instead. With all that in mind, there are some theories as to how the Patriots could get back on top, but it's looking very likely that it's going to be without Bill Belichick. And at this point, I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't think it's a bad thing to move on from Bill because the Patriots need to go under a full-scale rebuild. There is not a single bright spot on this team. I mean, Mac Jones is a maybe. Maybe if you put him in a better situation, maybe if you give him an offensive line, maybe if you give him wide receivers that actually could separate, then he could be a successful quarterback. And I would address that last. I wouldn't address that first. But I don't think it makes sense for Bill Belichick to stick around for a potential 3-year rebuild, which is what I'm projecting the New England Patriots to go through. And that's assuming that Mac Jones is the guy under center. And I guess you could figure that out easily by selecting Marvin Harrison Jr. if you do keep your draft pick, which is currently supposed to be the number 3 overall pick. There's been rumors in the past suggesting that the New England Patriots would like to move on and potentially elevate Jared Mayo as the next head coach of the team. Makes a lot of sense. New blood taking over a very legendary franchise that he once played for. Maybe you bring back Josh McDaniels, and Josh McDaniels could help Mac Jones, but I don't think coaching is the problem in the case of Mac Jones. Once again, I think on the field personnel is the problem with Mac Jones. So this brings us to the question, what should be done with Bill Belichick? And there's a lot of speculation. Originally, people thought that Bill Belichick was just going to be fired, but you can't just fire a coveted legendary head coach that is widely considered to be the greatest head coach of all time, or at the very minimum, the greatest head coach of our generation. You don't just let him walk away. You keep him and you sell him off to the highest bidder, but obviously take his wishes to mind. Bear in mind, the New Orleans Saints were able to get a first-round pick and a second-round pick for Sean Payton and a third-round pick. And that's tremendous value in general. You're not going to give up an opportunity to add additional capital when you're about to go through a rebuild, especially when I believe you could get significantly more for the most widely revered head coach in the NFL. So there are theories suggesting where Bill Belichick could go. And according to Dan Orlovsky, who made an appearance on the Pat McAfee show, a location has already been determined.
Mutual parting of ways between Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots.
I've heard that that's going to be the case, and it's kind of who knows the likelihood of it, but the location is already kind of determined as well.
I personally have my own theories as to where Bill Belichick could go. The first theory obviously being the Washington Commanders. They already have a brilliant offensive coordinator in place in Eric Bieniemy. They have a stud at the quarterback position. They have an established wide receiver core. Their defense was significantly better before the trade deadline than it is after the trade deadline. They have cap space. They have a running back. Their defensive backs look good too. It seems like the only thing really holding this team back is Ron Rivera. They have stable ownership as well, so Josh Harris is obviously going to want to make a splash. So Washington makes a lot of sense. But it really depends on what Bill Belichick really wants. If he wants to stay on the East Coast, then maybe the New York Giants are going to reach out in an attempt to bring Bill Belichick back. There's history between the New York Giants and Bill Belichick, but there are significant question marks with the New York Giants. As a matter of fact, there's not that much of a difference between the roster of the Patriots and the roster of the Giants. There's question marks at the quarterback position. Their running back is good. They have like 2 solid defensive pieces in Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau, and really that's about it. But the most popular rumor currently, the one that fans are salivating over if it does happen, is none other than the Los Angeles Chargers. Because Bill Belichick desperately fills a void for the LA Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers are one of the worst teams whenever it comes to late game management. This is a team that's lost 5 one-score games over the past year and got embarrassed at the hands of the Jacksonville Jaguars last year in the playoffs. The fact that Brandon Staley is still coaching, to me, is nothing short of a miracle. And his mentality is just something that drives me insane. I mean, what's crazy is Brandon Staley always comes up with revolutionary ways to lose games. I mean, this past game that they played, the LA Chargers scored a touchdown touchdown on all 5 of their possessions. They became the first team to score a touchdown on 100% of their drives in the final 40 minutes of regulation and lose the game. The final 40 minutes of regulation. Could you think about that for a second? A football game is, I guess if you want to go by like football numbers, is 60 minutes long, which means this team scored 5 touchdowns every time they got the ball back, and they still lost. To put this into perspective, the Chargers are the 22nd team to score a touchdown on at least 70% of their drives in the final 40 minutes of regulation. All the other 21 have won the game. And here's the thing, if the Chargers had a bad defense, I'd forgive it, but this is a team that has Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack and Derwin James on the defensive side of the ball. This defense isn't a joke either. Every single part of the LA Chargers on paper is good enough to go 16-0 if you did a Madden simulation. Somehow, they're consistently losing games. It doesn't make sense. Bill Belichick is considered to be the king of situational football, and I think the best place he could go to is the Chargers. According to Gary Myers, New York, which, with all due respect, isn't exactly Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport or Tom Pelissaro, if you catch my drift. One of my well-placed sources believe that the Chargers are the favorites for Bill Belichick in 2024. Excellent QB, team's ready to win. Belichick likes California and the beach. If Bill Belichick takes over the defense and lets Justin Herbert be Herbert on offense, that could be a good combo. I don't think there's a single flaw on the Chargers apart from Brandon Staley. This team should at the very minimum be winning 13 games a year. They should not be first round exits either. The fact that Brandon Staley always gets another chance will always blow my mind. And the fact that the LA Chargers currently have a losing record blows my mind as well. At the end of the day, it's win-win. A huge trade between the Chargers and the Patriots would be exactly what each side needs. The Patriots could move on from Bill Belichick. They could get a decent haul for him as well. Maybe a first and a second, maybe 2 firsts. I don't necessarily know, because head coaching trades rarely ever happen, and it rarely happens with a coach of Bill Belichick's pedigree. But at the end of the day, if Bill Belichick does move on from the Patriots, it's not going to be just him getting fired and walking away. He's going to get traded, and it's going to be for a huge haul. And it's going to be a crazy day that is going to change the culture of one very lucky team. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think that team is? Or do you think Bill Belichick stays on the New England Patriots? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.